work with very young kids, it's enough for them to make daisies and put them into some glass or a jar. If children are a bit older, you can make a vase together with them, the one we've already mentioned. First of all, you have to make a round bottom using one of the techniques proposed on our site. For example, here I have made the so-called spider bottom. So we have woven the bottom. The diameter is 9 centimeters. It's sufficient to put a jar onto it. Then I turn it round, and it is where you have to apply imagination. Of course, you have to think of what kind of a vase you are going to weave beforehand. So you've probably already guessed that we are going to weave every petal separately. First of all, you have to decide on the quantity of petals. Here I have 12 double tubes. If I unite them into couples, I will get 6 petals. That's okay, let's do it like this. Then, how we are going to weave our petals? We can widen them upward. You can start weaving round 2 pairs of tubes, then divide them into 4 single tubes, and finish petals with wider tops. If you weave the last upper rows incomplete, as a result you'll get petals with inclined upper edge. It was the first variety, but I personally prefer the second one. I recommend it to you, and it is the very way I'm going to weave today. I started twining round 2 pairs, then divided them into 4 separate tubes, and after a few rows I united the tubes and narrowed the petals upward again. Or you can divide the tubes into 4 at the bottom from the very beginning, and then narrow them upward. In this case they will be wider at the bottom and narrower toward the top. It's where you can apply your imagination. I choose the shape like this, as I like it most of all. So, I lift the poles and start weaving them round, at first in couples, in the technique of a normal regular rope. Weave a few rows like this, lengthening the working tube when necessary. I weave with moistened tubes. If you work with children, you'd better use either leaves from notebooks or regular office paper instead of newspapers, because they are more ecologically friendly. So we weave a few centimeters, hugging 2 pairs together. After which I separate them into 4. Let's lengthen the working tube once again. Here you have to count the rows. All the petals have to be identical to the first one. Here I start separating the poles and enlacing every pole individually. And this way up to the required height. I've decided from the very beginning that my vase will be shaped like this. If you have a regular jar, you can be satisfied with the shape like this, just hanging a jar. But this time I'd like to make it a little more complicated. I'd like my vase to be round-shaped, so I've chosen this bowl as a base form. I follow the shape of the bowl while weaving. Though actually I don't need it right now. I will need it later. When I finish weaving the petals, I will hug the bowl with the petals, prime them and leave this way. So far we are just weaving, taking into account the height of the bowl. Lengthen the working tube, continue weaving. Continue weaving in the technique of a regular rope. Here I have failed to lengthen. Just enlace the tubes. And so on. Tighten the weaving, try making it neat, try to make joints invisible. Continue weaving. So we weave 3 rows like this, I mean 3 doubled ones, forward and backward 3 times. In the 4th row, when our poles have almost met each other, I insert the ends of the tubes into the weaving in a traditional way with the help of a knitting needle. The tubes are wet, so it is rather difficult. 1. I will cut the end later. And then insert the second end. That's all, we have hidden the ends. Now I cut the middle poles almost at the bottom. As for the extreme poles, I unite them with the help of school glue and cut them as well. And fix with the help of a clothespin. We will cut the excessive later. So we've got the petal like this. We have to weave 5 more petals like this one. So we have woven all the 6 petals and have got such an interesting star. Now we prime the article with school glue mixed with water. Cover thoroughly. We have to make our material flexible, and when it dries, the article has to keep the required shape. That's all, the star is primed. Put the foam onto it. We use a base shaped in the same way as we'd like to shape our vase. This time I'd like it to be shaped like this, that's why I put a foam into the center, hug it with petals and fix them with a rubber band, the one usually used for keeping bills together. I believe 1 band is enough. Distribute the petals equally. Shape them the way I like. If I had some wooden egg, it would probably be still easier, as I could just stick the petals to the form. But because after priming our material has become flexible enough, we can shape it the way we like. And leave the article in some warm, dry place. Look, it is the way it looks when dry. It keeps the shape, but at the same time you can bend the petals, take a jar out, wash it, pour some water and put natural flowers into it if you like, when the season comes. So far, one can please one's teacher, mom, granny with such handmade daisies. Good luck to everyone!